How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today we have Wargaming's brand new update news for next week on World of Tanks console. So, it is of course the round 4 of Wargaming's 25th anniversary, and we have an earn challenge where you can pick up a free premium tank, or at least the choice of multiple premium tanks. We also then have new commanders, and we've got some information regarding new maps and stuff like that. So let's get into it. The first thing that we do is of course the Wargaming's 25th anniversary round 4. So what is this? Well, we have a week's worth of content that you can use, and essentially it is a kind of additional bonuses, potential that you can purchase some vehicles and stuff like that, as well as being able to pick up some premium vehicles for free XP as well. So first things first, the Wargaming 25th anniversary for week 4 gives you a vehicle XP to free XP conversion bonus for a 1 to 35 cost instead of a 1 to 20 cost, which is what I've been using to be able to get myself a ton of free XP so we can get through some of the awful tanks in the tech tree line. And although I wouldn't recommend spending gold to be able to actually get XP in the game, for me, it just saves me an absolute ton of time and it's worth it for me. But obviously for you, it's really dependent on, is it actually worth it for you? Is spending, 20 quid to be able to save yourself, 2-3 hours of time worth it? If it isn't, then definitely don't do it, but it's there for those of you who are interested. And essentially you get an extra 40% on top of what you typically would get, because usually it's a 1 to 25, now you're getting 1 to 35. So, it's an extra bonus if you're interested. And if you are going to purchase free XP at any time in the next 3 months, I would recommend doing it now, as it's going to save you 40% of your gold on every single kind of gold that you convert, essentially. So it's a decent time to buy it if you do want to buy it. But out of that, we also have a 30% discount on World War II premium tanks that include the Cobra, which is the tier 9 British medium / hybrid with a tank destroyer. I don't really know what you want. It's an auto-loading a tank that is able to deal a ton of damage with its HESH rounds, and you got up to like 2,000 damage, nearly, I think it's 1,960 damage with your 4-round autoloader that bursts out that damage super quickly. If you've seen any of the World of Tanks PC videos, then you know exactly what this tank is all about. On console, however, it's not necessarily as good, and that is not necessarily a bad thing, as it is pretty overpowered on PC, which is yeah, nice to see, and maybe we'll do a video on it coming soon. But either way, we've actually saved up some replays, so we'll be able to showcase that to you. But either way, we then also have the Object 279E, which will also be on sale for 30% off. Now, the cost of both of these vehicles, the first one being the Cobra, is 12,500 gold. So it's going to cost you like £40 if you want to be able to purchase it. I think it's like £35. So whatever that is in dollars, might be $40, might be $50. I'm not entirely sure. Depends on how Wargaming convert their kind of currencies based on, pounds to dollars, whatever it is. But you guys will know. Essentially, it's quite expensive for what it is. It's just one tank for £40. And that is, yeah, for a tank that's okay, pretty good, pretty fun, maybe spending 40 quid on it is worth it. But for me, probably wouldn't recommend it, but that's just my opinion. And then we have the anniversary of the Object 279E, where you can pick it up. It's a tier 10. It's not as good as it is on PC, don't worry, but it is, fairly decent. I mean, you can have good games, but yeah, armor model, gun, it doesn't work as well. But 16,000 gold, it's okay. But at the same time, it's very expensive, and you'll be spending what, like £45, maybe even £50, which is like $60 to $70, as again, depending on the conversion or whatever currency that you're using to be able to purchase this tank, which I wouldn't really recommend on just one singular tank. And you'd probably be better off just trying to save up free XP or using the conversion that you can get with free XP to be able to purchase it in the future. But it just depends. If you really want this tank, then it's on sale for you. Either way, we then have some tanks for free XP. So if you've been saving up your free XP and you're like, I don't know what to spend it on. Do I want to use it for packages on a tank, or do I want a tier 10? Well, you have the option of either. And you also have the option of tier 9s and tier 8s all the way down to like tier 5s, I believe, that we have here. But essentially, you've got the M60, you've got the T95 Chieftain, you've got the M40A2, that's the pattern. We have the T55A, Charfuture, 752, Earthshaker, AMBT, Iron Rain, M56 Scorpion, Super Hellcat, TOG 2. Yeah, the TOG 2's on the free XP list. It's a nice one. The British Bulldog and the TCM AGS alongside the Type 63 HD90, so you can pick up some Cold War vehicles on here as well. The key highlights for me in this list are the T95 Chieftain, the Charfuture, the Earthshaker, the Iron Rain, the M56 Scorpion, and of course none other than the TOG 2. And if you're a Cold War boy, then the TCM AGS is pretty decent as well. But that's kind of my opinion on these lists. Should you go out and spend your free XP? Don't really know. It's completely down to you at the end of the day. But there's some nice bonuses that Wargaming have added in. They didn't have to do it, so it's nice to have them, even if 90% of people probably won't make use of them. But what people will make use of is the free earn challenge for the couple of vehicles that we've got going on right now. And this is available for 2 weeks, well, no, 3 weeks even. So a pretty decent amount of time to be able to complete some of these. But essentially it is the Battle of Stalingrad, where you can pick up some premium vehicles. And how do you actually complete these and get the points? And it is a point system to be able to get the free premium tanks. Well, you have to earn XP by coming top in your team to, coming 10th in your team. You'll get a various amount of points. If you come first, you'll get 5 points. If you come second or all the way down to 5th, you'll get 3 points. And if you come between 6th and 10th, you get 1 point. So the better that you do in your games, the more consistently well you can do in your games, the more points you're going to get and the easier this challenge is going to be. So, of course, if you're more experienced on the game, it's going to be quicker. If you're less experienced, or, you struggle to place top in your games, or, top 5, it's going to be significantly longer. And in fact, if you average between 6 and 10, you're probably going to take like 3 times less than someone who's more experienced. So they are a long slog if you are a player that does take your time. And then for the most part, if you're a casual player who, doesn't have the experience, these challenges are basically impossible for you to be able to get the highest premium tanks, which kind of sucks. And yeah, I mean, I think Wargaming should just make it that people should be able to obtain it, but that, anyone can obtain it. It just takes people longer and they're not going to get it as quickly, but you should always be able to actually obtain it. That's kind of my opinion on it, and unfortunately, Wargaming don't seem to be doing that, not as well as they used to do, and it seems like they're going for the harder challenges like we used to have back in the day. Now, they made it a lot easier, where people could buy premium tanks much easier, where we'd have better sales, and Wargaming moving back to their original system, where they're just basically releasing premium tanks on like 30% discounts instead of the 50 that we're used to, at like 25% discounts, and throwing in a load of rubbish that we don't actually want, and giving you a 30% discount, which obviously isn't quite a 30% discount on just the pure tank, which kind of sucks. But either way, regardless of that, how do you actually complete this, and how many points do you actually need? Well, for the bottom tank in this list, we have the Loser M4A2 Sherman. We then have the Sturm VK3601H 105, which is a mercenary premium, and that is the second option, so the second lowest. Then we have the Stockade Object 703, so this is like an IS-3 that has an autoloader, which is the third. And then the final one that you could possibly get is the German Tier 8 King Tiger, which is, of course, a vehicle that you can pick up. And it is very expensive if you wanted to buy it with gold. So yeah, it's kind of nice to have. If you forever manage to get it out of a keycard, you get a ton of gold back, which is always brilliant, even if the tank itself is not particularly too great, or at least isn't as good as probably the tech tree version of the vehicle. But either way, what does Wargaming say about these tanks? Well, keep racking up points until you've earned enough to claim a reward. Then head to the Challenges tab to select a reward from the possible drops. And you're not limited to one reward. As long as the challenge is live, you can keep earning points and claim as many rewards as you have points for. You can also claim non-tank rewards multiple times. The sky's the limit. So what Wargaming is saying is that you could get all of the premium tanks. You could get all of the premium tanks, but, and there's a big but, you need 1,000 points for the King Tiger. You need 900 points for the Stockade. That's 1,900 points straight off the bat. You need 775 points for the Sturm, which means you need 2,675 points. Then, if you want to get the Loser, you're going to get 3,275 points. Now, to put things into perspective for you, as the event is going on for 3 weeks, you would have to get 3,275 points. That equates to coming top every single game that you actually play on World of Tanks console. You would need to play about 650 games, coming top every single game to be able to complete this and get all of them. Now, let's be real here. No one is probably going to be able to complete it. It would take 600 games in just 3 weeks. And that is what? If you take it per day, that's like 30 something games every single day. Now, I'm sure there will be people out there that can do this, but if you're a somewhat casual player, even if you play a decent chunk of World of Tanks, you know, you miss one day, you've then got to make it up by playing 60 games the next day. You miss 2 days in that whole 3 weeks, and you've got to make up another 60 games on that final day, or whatever it might be. Now, you might play, 40 games in one day if you're, got tons of time, but for the majority of people, you don't have, 5 hours every single day to be able to do it. Now, let's be real here. Most people are going to get one tank, and for the most part, probably one of the lower tier ones, the 600 points to the drop golf, and that is basically going to be the 775 points. So even with that, if you are an average player who comes between the likes of 5th on the team to 10th on the team on average, sometimes you come below that and get 0 points, then yeah, you will end up having to play like 700 games. Yeah, 700 games. And if you want to complete it all when you're an average player, you'll need to play 3,000 games in 3 weeks, which is actually impossible, I want to say. That's 110 games or like 120 games every single day. Yeah, so I don't think anyone's doing that. It might even be 150 games a day even. So yeah, no one is going to be able to do it if you're an average player. If you're the best player in the game and you can come top every single game, you're still going to have troubles because you're going to have to play 30 games a day. So it's basically impossible to do them all, even if Wargaming say that you could get them all. Theoretically, yes, but for the most part, no. So making sure that you pick the right ones. Which one would I pick? Well, first off, if you potentially are able to get 1,000 points, I would recommend picking the Stockade. Now, interesting pick. It's kind of a hash up. You could pick the Stockade or the King Tiger. Both are pretty decent. Stockade has the autoloader, so it's a bit more unique, novel, and it's not something you can get in the tech tree for the Soviet heavies, which is why I would recommend getting it. Whereas the King Tiger, you can play the Tiger 2, which is basically the same sort of tank. And yeah, it's in the tech tree, you don't have to purchase it. So, or, earn a ton of points to be able to get it. So, first pick, Stockade, then I'd go King Tiger, then I'd go Sturm, and then the Losers M4A2. That would be my pick in terms of which one I would prioritise. And of course, if you for some reason get 1,300 points or whatever, then just make sure that you pick the Stockade and the, this one, the Sturm, or vice versa, the King Tiger and the Sturm. If you manage to get that many points, I would be surprised if many people actually do that. But yeah, let me know whether you think that you're going to complete it, if you actually like this, that they're making them very, very difficult. And if you have all of them and you're wondering, will I get any silver for picking them? Then yes, you will get rewarded with the equivalent amount of silver for each of the tanks, with 5.5 million for the King Tiger, 4.9 million for the Stockade, 1.65 million for the Sturm, and 1.5 million for the Losers, there or thereabouts. Obviously not specific values, but you know, that's basically what you'll get. So, yeah, a decent operation. I just think it's going to be very difficult for people to be able to reliably get in, like, 3 weeks or something like that. So, yeah, take it with a pinch of salt. It's there for if you manage to get the points. Don't sweat about it. Let's be real. It's a virtual tank on a virtual game that isn't going to actually mean anything in, like, 2 weeks after you get the tank. Let's be real. You'll probably play it for a week. Is it worth stressing out, trying to play hours and hours and hours, probably 5 hours a day to be able to get 30 points if you're the best player in the world to get them all? So yeah, and for the most part, you're going to have to play just to get the King Tiger, like maybe like 700 games in 3 weeks. So don't sweat it. You're probably not going to be able to do it, and I certainly will not be able to get anywhere near that. And you know, I can consistently come top 5 to first in my games, and yeah, I would be nowhere near getting 1,000 points. But that's kind of my opinion on it. Don't like it. Don't like the point requirements. Far too difficult, I think, for the majority of players. And if you're trying to make it an incentive to play, it's not an incentive to play if you make the challenge so hard that no one is going to be able to complete it. And that, you know, if no one realises that they're never going to complete it, they're not going to even bother playing. So it isn't an incentive whatsoever. Like, you're not going to get more people to play the game. And in fact, if you probably half these requirements, it would make it a lot better, because people would be like, oh, I really want to play. I want to get all of the tanks. It's going to be cool. Let's be real here. Like, yeah, I don't get why they went with so many points. You could literally half this and it would still be very difficult to be able to obtain it. Meaning, yeah, I think 100 games coming top to be able to get a King Tiger. Yeah, I think that would be more achievable than, you know, the 1,000 points and like 200 games coming top to be able to get the King Tiger in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And considering people go away on holiday in August, yeah, I think it's not particularly the best time for Wargaming to release such a difficult operation. But that's my opinion. Hopefully I'll be interested to see what you guys say in the comment section. Do you agree with me? Do you completely disagree? Do you think that it's an absolute fine thing that Wargaming should do more of it? Let me know. Either way, moving on, discount and bundles are also available. I'll give my opinion on some of the top bundles. I'll tell you straight away if I think it's good, and I'll pick out some of the good tanks in here. If they're pretty terrible, I'll just gloss over them and just say probably isn't the one. Now, the first one probably isn't the one. 13,000 gold for 2 tier 8 heavy tanks. E75 TS is good, but it's not amazing. It's kind of mediocre, and the Kirovets is mediocre as well, / poor. So yeah, not particularly one I would go with, even at a 40% discount. Then we have the Panzer 58 Mutz with the T44 100, both of which are mediocre. So I probably wouldn't get that for 10,000 gold. Then we have Scout Ahead. This one's the Hawk 30 and the LT432, both pretty good tanks, and 8,200 gold. Pretty worth it, I think, for the 2 tanks that you get. Stalkers of the Steppe, you got the SU-130 PM and Scorpion G. Both tanks, very good. If you want to spend 14,000 gold, this wouldn't be a bad option. Frontline Combatants, you got the Bear and the Tiger 217. I wouldn't spend 7,000 gold on it, but they're not bad tanks at all. Sniper and Flanker, German tier 6, small term, so it's the Panzer 5S or 4S, and the T34 85M for 4,900. It's not a bad bundle if you like low tiers, and the T34 85M is absolutely broken, so yeah, you could potentially get it. Explorer Duo, T50-2 and the Aufklärungs Panzerpanther. These are 2 really, really fun tanks, and I think that this is probably the funnest tank bundle that you'll be able to get. Just cool, whipping around the battlefield, ramming into things with the Aufklärungs, and just circling things to high heaven with the T50-2. So 5,000 gold, I think it's pretty decent. That's what, like I want to say like £15, you'll get a ton of enjoyment out of it. I can guarantee it. Either way, support fires SU-85I, the Seal Clubber, and the Stug 4. I would never recommend these. I'm not even going to bother. The Citadel Denizens, you got the Slayer SU-152, the Craft Panther 4, and the Citadel Tiger 1. I wouldn't recommend it for 10,000 gold. That's my opinion. The SU-152 is pretty good, the Slayer one. The Craft Panther's okay, and the Citadel is pretty good, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting it for such low tier tanks that don't really offer you that much different from what you can just get in the tech tree. But there we go. That is the deals and sales, the free tanks, and yeah, I'd be interested to see what you guys say. And then finally, we have, at least in terms of content before the Q&A and the information that we got from Wargaming themselves, we then got some extra Metal Fest kind of content that they've brung on as well, which gives you these 2 commanders here, and you can get them in the game. And Wargaming is proud to announce an electrifying collaboration with iconic metal band Megadeth. The in-game music event Metal Fest kicked off in World of Tanks Modern Armour on August 15th, with legendary band Sabaton shaking the game's foundations as the opening act. Among the new Megadeth content awaiting fans and players will be exclusive voiceover by Dave Mustaine, the frontman of Megadeth. The highlight of this collaboration is the inclusion of the band's iconic mascot Vic Rattlehead, who I'm assuming is one of these two, or both of them even, who will be making their debut in appearance in video games with an incredible 3D representation and unique voiceover. So they are available in World of Tanks Modern Armour, Blitz, Warships, and of course World of Warships Legends, which is the console version of World of Warships. So yeah, that's available if you're interested, and of course you can see more information on the Megadeth kind of website that they've got here. And yeah, World of Tanks, blah blah blah, play for free. It's just basically a way of getting you to play the game. And yeah, I mean 3D, 2D commanders. Not a whole lot of other information. Not entirely sure if they're going to give us, if you have to buy them. I'm assuming that you do have to, oh no, completing challenges, sorry, so you can get them for free. Will unlock various Megadeth theme rewards. The 2 new tanks inspired by the album's Peace Sells, But Who's Buying, and The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead will make their debut in the store. So there's 2 new tanks as well coming in, which I will do a review on when we get them in the game. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, as well as the 2D commanders and the 3D commander that we can get in game too. So you'll be able to purchase those, all of those, in the store as you'd expect. But moving swiftly on, we then have the update news information from World of Tanks console and the Q&A that they do on their live stream. So this is always an interesting segment, and we can kind of get started on this. And see what Wargaming are saying about the upcoming events and upcoming updates and stuff, and you're answering some of your questions. So first one is, what is the next map coming back, and if it's not Live Oaks, when is that map coming back? The net map, what the hell is going on there? The next map is not Live Oaks, but I'm happy to say that it is being worked on by the art team, and we've moved it forward in the schedule. I can't give any hints of the next map right now, but I will say that is a map players have requested. So I have no idea what it's going to be. It could be any of them, to be honest. There's tons of maps that we're waiting on. So let me know what your thoughts are on this map. If you think that you know which one it is, let me know. Can we get more gun sounds for smaller guns like the 25mm and 30mm? So I brought it up with our audio director and told me that this is very much on his mind, but it's all going to be based on priorities and if time allows for it. Historically, we've been limited in how much audio can be added because of memory and storage, but now that much of the player base is beginning to migrate over to newer platforms, we're looking to expand on the audio that we have in the game for future updates. We can improve the gun audio and engine audio, which should be awesome to see. Will we get more tanks equipped with flamethrowers, for example the Sherman and Patton variants? That's very interesting, and yes, more are coming very soon. So obviously if you've seen the new flamethrowers, if you tested them out, you'll know that they're not particularly overpowered or anything. So yeah, it's nice to actually see that in the game. And it's good to know that there's some more coming, and I think that would be cool, as long as they're not overpowered or they do anything stupid with them. Will we get more tanks? Do you have any updates on double barrel tanks? The investigation and documentation work has been done, and actual work has begun. So they're saying that they have actually done some work on the double barrel tanks that they said that they were going to release about 3 years ago. So it's always good that, you know, now they're finally working on them. They've had some troubles with them. I think the double barrel mechanic is difficult to work with a controller, with the setup and stuff like that, and trying to get it to actually feel decent is probably a bit of a problem, and I'm not surprised, as we're limited on buttons anyway. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what you guys think. Do you think it's possible we could see any PC maps come into console? PC maps will be making their way over very slowly, but surely. You won't see any more PC maps this year, but next year you definitely will see some. And that is because they've found a way of porting over some of the maps in which they can essentially grab a PC map, bring it into the console, and it kind of automatically does a lot of the work for them, rather than what they previously had to do, which was redesign the whole map, at least from a base version, something a lot less kind of advanced, which is why it took a lot longer, and they've upgraded their kind of system in doing that, from what I've read on their kind of patch notes and update notes that they've said in the past. So that's always good. And I feel like that will help us out. And the same thing has been done with premium tanks, I believe, or at least tanks. Don't quote me on that. I think that was in a news article. But, you know, yet again, it's something interesting, and should be able to allow us to get more content quicker and to a higher quality as well, since they're not rushing around to try and do things, as it's much quicker and efficient for them. Is it possible to solve the problem of bots shooting at us without being spotted? Yes, our AI engineer has been looking at this one and expect a fix to this next season. So that's good. And what happened to the option in the post-battle results screen where we could press a button on any player and it would go to the stats? We can definitely look into this again, but the second we see talk of stat shaming, we would pull this back out. Hello, let's be real here. I don't know why they don't just do this. I feel like it's just something that should be in the game. Yeah. I think what they're trying to say is like how many shots were hit, that sort of stuff, like performance in game, because I don't know that that's there anymore. But it would be interesting to see that. And yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, let's be real here, I don't think checking someone's stats is going to do a whole lot. I mean, there's already so much toxicity in the community, which hopefully we don't be a part of, but yeah. It's there for you guys. That's their response on it. So they may bring it back, depending on how you guys find it in the game and how many reports of people being toxic are thrown back into Wargaming's way. But that is the update news for this week. I'm interested to see what you guys think. And if you've enjoyed the video, please do like the videos. It massively helps me out. And of course, if you want to see more videos, we have tons of them. There should be some playlist on screen, which you can probably see right now, hopefully. And hopefully you have a fantastic rest of the week. Even if you don't play any World of Tanks, I hope you have a brilliant time. And it might actually be made better by not playing the game. Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly onwards. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.